What medium is the piece you have here at the art show?
A charcoal. The pieces of Marilyn Monroe popping bubblegum, I just really find Marilyn interesting, and I just really like the picture. It stood out to me, so that's basically why I did it.
Is it based on one of her specific movies, or is it just her doing something kind of sassy?
I think it might just be a sassy thing.
What were some of the challenges that you faced to draw this?
Getting everything really precise and really symmetrical, and that's one of the things I had trouble with. Like, things weren't looking good, so I'm like, oh no, but worked out in the end.
You had to do some trial and error, some erasing, redrawing sort of stuff.
Definitely a lot of that.
What was the most rewarding thing about doing this piece?
Just seeing the finishing product, I guess. It just really made me feel good because I like it. And I just think it really looks good.
Well, the sculpture itself is a cat and a heart, and it's made out of paper mache and wire, and then there's paint on it.
This piece is a little bit of a reference to literature. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, it's reference to Edgar Allan Poe, Telltale Heart, and the Black Cat, which I was in a phase of drawing Edgar Allan Poe stuff and just thinking about it and reading more of his stories, so I was inspired to do this piece.
What is the most challenging part about doing something like this?
I think usually when we're doing paper mache, it's to get all like the seams sort of down and make it not look as so rough and such. Like when you paint it, it helps a lot because it just covers a lot of the maybe imperfections that you have on the piece.
So this is a little bit of a situation of mixing your literature class with your art class?
Yeah, I like to read a lot of the older sort of historical pieces of literature, and then I like to put them, or in songs. I'm a big fan of like putting song lyrics into art, or like translating that into a piece of art.
Can you tell me a little bit about the piece at the art show and describe it?
Yeah, so I have a mixed media piece. I'm using mainly acrylic paints, found wood, and matte board. I've called it Happy Birthday Darling, we love you very, 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 very much. That's a Bright Eyes lyric from a song called At the Bottom of Everything. The song, or the piece, I like to say it's a commentary about pregnancy and miscarriage and how it affects the female psyche. So there's a bit of a fantastical element to it, I would say.
I noticed there was a face on there. Can you tell us how that works with the concept?
Oh yeah, I think it doesn't have a lot of detail on the face. It's like there's no eyes or no mouth really. So I liked having that blank slate because I thought that it gave it kind of a more somber, morose kind of feel, and I wanted the piece to evoke a kind of a more melancholy emotion.
What was the most difficult or challenging part of doing this piece?
The frame. Everything besides everything on the piece of wood was so hard because I brought it into school and I was like, hey, can we put this on the art show? And she said, yeah, absolutely. And then she said, okay, but add more to everything. And so to me, the piece was finished, and then adding on to it was just the hardest part, I think. As a high school student, I think art is so vital because I wake up every day at 6:30 and I come to school and I'm here until 3:15 and sometimes longer, and it's just a very routine thing. So having the ability to make art and to make things that cause emotion and have a meaning and stuff, it's a release. It's definitely something that I need. It's vital.
Now, can you tell us about the wolf? What did you use to paint this piece?
I used pastels.
What was the most difficult or challenging part of drawing this piece?
Probably the mouth, because I had to put a lot of black in it, like the parts. I did this in Miss Fry's class, Miss Fry's drawing, and she said it was pretty good. I used a lot of line work because we were doing a line work project, and so I just stuck with it and kind of did it on my own. Worked a lot at home too.
Now, did you base this on a photograph, or did you just know enough about what wolves look like?
Well, I got it off photograph. We had to put it on different squares and draw it. There's a lot of steps that go into it, but you don't really see all the steps.
tell us about the 3 people with the face paint work that you did?
Yes, it was a project that I had looked through a lot of pictures for inspiration, and I actually saw that a lot of them were kind of typical white, Caucasian females, and I wanted to bring in more color, more people of color into the picture and portray them in a way that they are pieces of art themselves.
Now, this face painting in this photography, did you do that yourself?
I did. I did a lot of them by myself, and I also did, my friend Anya Martin, she helped me with a lot of the looks too.
This wasn't for a class, this was kind of an independent study that you did?
Yes, it was. I was looking into the whole Black Lives Matter movement, but it kind of broadened into something for people of color.
Can you tell me about your sculpture here at the TF South Art Show?
It's a piece that I made because it's one of my struggles that I went through here at high school.
I'm guessing something with to do with taking music lessons?
The class, yeah, it was real hard, and it's my senior year, so I needed that grade, so I had to, try to, I just incorporated my struggles through my art to try to make the best of it.
What were some of the challenges in making this piece?
The casting of the hands, it was difficult because I had to do it in pieces, and then I had to connect it all together. So.
Now, are those your hands, or did you get a friend to give you a hand?
They're my hands.
Okay. Where did the idea for this one come from?
Well, our project for art was to find a very colorful piece. So I was on the internet and I was looking at lips because I love makeup, and this one came across me. I'm like, oh wow, that one would be really cool to do. So it kind of popped out at me and I decided to do it.
And what was probably the most challenging thing about drawing this piece?
It was more of the coloring of the teeth to get them as white as possible, because I did it on black charcoal paper, so I had to make them pop. But yeah, and then some of the colors to make them more vibrant too.
What does art mean for you as a high school student?
Pretty much expressing yourself in different ways, because there's so many different art styles, and just to express yourself basically. Yeah, that's what art is.
Can you tell us about the piece that you have here in the art show and what class it was for?
The class is for art fundamental. The reason why I chose my self-portrait is because I was transitioning out of where I am now. Like, I want to see how in the future, I want to see how I was now. And so I can look back on me and say, oh, this is how I looked. Oh, maybe see if I changed.
Tell us about your pose for the picture.
Like peace. I don't know why I chose that pose. It was like the quickest one I could think of. I could show any type of other poses, but I don't know. Just chose that one.
Well, my piece is a sculpture made out of plaster with some CD pieces used to represent broken glass and painted to look like me.
I gotcha. I definitely sense that this piece has a lot of emotion connected to it. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind it?
Well, I've been going through a lot of stressful moments in my life, the passing of various family members and some complications with myself that I've been going through. And this piece shows that I've had a lot of built up anger and aggression, along with a lot of other emotions, and I bring it out in this piece.
And why this is special, I've been here about 20 years, but one of the things about why this is so special is because every year there's new artists that discover talent that they never knew they had. And once an actual piece of artwork is started, and it goes from beginning to end, and then they see it on the beautiful walls here in the gallery show as a viewing, now that piece of art comes to